Millions drink these beers every day without questioning what's inside, but the truth might surprise you. Today, we're uncovering 9 beer brands raising red flags and 4 cleaner choices. Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra has built its reputation around a very specific message. The brand presents itself as the beer for people who want balance. Commercials often show athletes finishing a workout or friends enjoying an active lifestyle before relaxing with a bottle. The idea is simple and appealing, a beer that fits into a healthier routine. With only 95 calories and a light flavor, Michelob Ultra quickly became a favorite for people who want something that feels lighter than traditional beer. However, when people begin to look closely at how the beer is produced, a different conversation starts to emerge. One of the most common criticisms involves the ingredients used during fermentation. Like many large-scale beers, Michelob Ultra relies on corn-derived ingredients such as corn syrup and dextrose alongside barley. These ingredients help create the light body and smooth taste the brand is known for. For large breweries producing millions of bottles every year, using corn-based ingredients helps maintain consistency and efficiency. The concern from critics is not necessarily that these ingredients are unsafe, but that they move the beer away from traditional brewing methods that rely mostly on malted barley and hops. Beer enthusiasts who care deeply about classic brewing styles often prefer beers made from fewer ingredients. Another ingredient that sometimes attracts attention is propylene glycol alginate. This stabilizer helps maintain the foam and texture of beer. Food regulators allow it in small quantities, and it appears in many processed foods. Still, the scientific name alone can make consumers uncomfortable because it sounds more like something from a chemistry textbook than from a brewery. Stella Artois. Stella Artois has long been marketed as a sophisticated European lager. The elegant glassware, the polished advertising campaigns, and the connection to Belgian brewing traditions all contribute to its premium reputation. Many drinkers see Stella Artois as something a little more refined than everyday beers. Yet behind that polished image is a massive global production system. Stella Artois is brewed and distributed on an international scale, which means the brewing process must prioritize consistency across millions of bottles. Maintaining identical taste and appearance worldwide requires extremely controlled brewing techniques. One topic critics often discuss is the use of adjunct grains like corn or rice in certain brewing processes. Large breweries commonly use these ingredients because they help manage flavor balance and reduce costs while maintaining consistency. However, beer enthusiasts who value traditional European brewing methods sometimes argue that premium beers should rely more heavily on malted barley. Another area that occasionally raises questions involves color stabilization. When breweries produce enormous batches, maintaining the same visual appearance becomes important for brand consistency. Adjustments in the brewing process can help achieve that goal, but some drinkers prefer beers that rely only on natural variations in ingredients. Stella Artois has also appeared in independent glyphosate testing reports. These findings are part of a broader conversation about agricultural practices rather than something unique to this brand. Because modern grain farming often uses herbicides, trace residues can appear in many food products. Regulators maintain that the levels detected in beverages are extremely small, yet consumers increasingly want to know how ingredients are sourced. For viewers learning about these details, Stella Artois illustrates how large global brands balance heritage marketing with modern industrial brewing. Beck's. Beck's built its reputation on German brewing heritage. For many years, the brand represented the image of traditional European beer, rooted in strict brewing standards associated with Germany's purity traditions. That history created strong expectations among drinkers who believed they were purchasing a beer closely tied to those values. As Beck's expanded internationally, production methods inevitably evolved. Global distribution requires breweries to produce beer in different locations using ingredients available at scale. Some versions of Beck's rely on adjunct grains alongside barley to maintain consistent flavor and manage costs. Still delivers the recognizable flavor people expect. Critics argue that the brewing process reflects modern industrial efficiency rather than historical purity. Beck's has also appeared in conversations about pesticide residues detected during independent testing of commercial beers. Trace glyphosate levels have been reported in multiple brands across the industry. Supporters of current agricultural practices emphasize that the detected levels remain extremely small and fall well within safety limits. Critics believe the findings highlight the need for more transparency about farming methods used to grow brewing grains. Before continuing, if you enjoy learning the hidden details behind everyday products like this, take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. Corona Extra. Corona Extra is one of the most recognizable beers on the planet. The clear bottle and the tradition of adding a lime wedge have become cultural symbols of relaxation and warm weather. For many people, opening a Corona immediately brings images of beaches, vacations, and easygoing moments with friends. However, brewing experts often point out that the clear bottle design comes with a trade-off. Beer is sensitive to light exposure, which can trigger chemical reactions that affect flavor. This process, often called light-struck beer, can produce the skunky aroma that some drinkers notice when beer sits in bright light. Most breweries use brown bottles or cans to protect beer from light damage. Corona continues using clear bottles largely because the look has become central to the brand's identity. The packaging choice works extremely well from a marketing perspective, even though it requires breweries to carefully control the brewing process to maintain flavor stability. Corona Extra has also been mentioned in glyphosate testing discussions along with several other mass-produced beers. Again, these reports typically show extremely small trace levels that fall within regulatory limits. The conversation continues mainly because consumers are becoming more interested in how ingredients are grown and processed before they reach the brewery. Despite these debates, Corona's popularity remains strong worldwide. The brand shows how powerful lifestyle marketing can be when it connects a product to memorable experiences. Bud Light. Bud Light stands as one of the most widely consumed beers in the United States. Its success comes from a combination of massive distribution, affordable pricing, and a flavor designed to appeal to a broad audience. The brewing process relies on barley malt along with adjunct grains such as rice and corn. These ingredients help create the light body and crisp taste that define Bud Light. Large breweries frequently use adjunct grains because they allow brewers to produce consistent results on a massive scale. Some beer enthusiasts argue that relying heavily on rice and corn removes complexity from the final product. Traditional brewing recipes often emphasize malted barley as the primary ingredient. However, supporters of light beer styles point out that Bud Light never aimed to be a complex craft beer. The brand's goal has always been smoothness and drinkability. Bud Light has also appeared in independent testing discussions about trace pesticide residues found in commercial beers. As with other brands mentioned earlier, the detected levels are extremely small and remain within accepted guidelines. Bud Light represents the efficiency and scale of modern industrial brewing. It delivers a familiar taste that millions of people recognize instantly. Coors Light. Coors Light markets itself as one of the most refreshing beers available. Advertising often highlights cold mountain imagery and clean water sources to emphasize purity. This messaging resonates with drinkers looking for a crisp and simple beer. Producing beer on the scale required for Coors Light involves carefully controlled brewing systems. Corn syrup is sometimes used during fermentation in large breweries to help regulate alcohol production and maintain consistency between batches. During fermentation, most of these sugars convert into alcohol, but the ingredient still draws attention from drinkers who prefer beers brewed strictly with barley. Coors Light also uses clarification techniques to maintain its bright appearance. These techniques remove particles that could make the beer appear cloudy. While common in many breweries, these details rarely appear in advertising that focuses on natural imagery. The conversation about glyphosate residues in agricultural products also includes Coors Light, reinforcing the broader debate about farming practices and ingredient sourcing. Miller Lite. Miller Lite helped launch the modern light beer category decades ago. The goal was to create a beer that delivered familiar flavor while reducing heaviness and calories. The concept proved extremely successful and changed the direction of the beer industry. To achieve that lighter profile, Miller Lite uses brewing techniques that include adjunct grains alongside barley malt. These ingredients contribute to the crisp taste that fans expect. Critics sometimes argue that the use of adjunct ingredients reduces the depth found in traditional beers brewed primarily with malted barley. Supporters respond that Miller Lite was never designed to compete with craft beer. Its purpose has always been simplicity and drinkability. Like many other large brands, Miller Lite has appeared in independent testing discussions about trace pesticide residues in commercial beers. These findings reflect broader agricultural practices rather than something unique to the brand itself. Heineken. Heineken is one of the most recognizable beer brands in the world. The green bottle and red star logo have become symbols of international brewing success. Brewing experts often mention that green bottles allow more light exposure than darker bottles. Light can affect beer flavor over time, which is why many breweries prefer brown bottles or aluminum cans. Heineken continues to use green bottles because they have become a defining part of the brand's identity. Producing beer for global markets requires extremely precise brewing systems. Maintaining identical taste across continents involves careful ingredient control and large-scale brewing technology. Heineken has also been included in glyphosate testing conversations alongside other commercial beers. The levels reported remain extremely small, but the discussion reflects growing consumer curiosity about ingredient sourcing. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Pabst Blue Ribbon gained popularity as an affordable beer with a strong retro identity. Over time, it developed a loyal following among drinkers who appreciated its simple style and accessible price. The brewing process relies heavily on corn and corn syrup alongside barley. These ingredients help keep production costs low and allow breweries to produce large quantities efficiently. Critics argue that this cost-focused approach sacrifices some of the natural characteristics associated with traditional brewing. Combined with discussions about pesticide residues and additives across the industry, PBR often appears in debates about the quality of mass-produced beers. Beer brands that focus on simpler brewing. While many global brands rely on industrial processes, several breweries continue emphasizing traditional brewing methods and simpler ingredient lists. Samuel Smith's Organic Ale focuses on certified organic ingredients and traditional fermentation techniques. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale highlights the use of whole cone hops and sustainable brewing practices. Allagash White follows authentic Belgian-style brewing methods using wheat and natural spices. Live Oak Brewing in Texas uses German-inspired brewing techniques that prioritize malt flavor and minimal processing. These breweries show that traditional brewing approaches still exist alongside modern, large-scale production. And share the beer that surprised you the most in the comments, and check out the next video where we uncover more everyday products people rarely question.